Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday to all. I hope everyone is having a great day today. I hope everyone woke up feeling blessed. And I hope everyone is grateful for the things that they have in their lives. Personally, I'm feeling wonderful. A little cold, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's freezing out where I'm at. Freezing. Yesterday we had a low of -4. Felt like I think it was -23 or something close to like -30. But it was really cold out there. I know a few people in the further Midwest, more north than we are really going through it. There was a 50-car pileup on I-80, which I-80 is not far from where we are. Like, I could walk there in probably about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. I could walk to one of the on-ramps to I-80. Unfortunately, someone did lose their life. I think maybe 2 people may have lost their lives in the pileup. So to those families, I'd like to say, I feel for you. I honestly do. That's really sad to have something like that happen right around, a couple of days before Christmas when everybody's trying to spend that time with family and enjoy their family. And I can only imagine having a tragedy like that happen so close to the holidays. It's got to be very, very just terrible. So my heart goes out to those people, and my prayers go out to those people as well. And to anyone who's dealing with any kind of hardship right now, not only because it's Christmas, just because as human beings, we should generally, without any type of reciprocation, care about the human condition and others. It should be that way, you know what I'm saying? Like, we as a species should care more. That's just the way I think. But you know what? That's sad. I ain't come here to talk to you guys about sad stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? The weather has been crazy. It's been crazy. Shit. The wind was howling something terrible all day yesterday, you know what I'm saying? Had to go outside in this weather and check to make sure all the structures that could blow off the house did not blow off the house. And thankfully, nothing like that happened. We didn't lose any power, so we're blessed. So I'm very grateful for all of that. Woke up this morning, still got projects I got to complete, so I've got busyness to keep me busy, or things to keep me busy. That's what I meant to say, So I'm grateful for that. I got this room to work on right here that I'm in, my little studio. Still painting the upstairs front room. Still working on that. The ceiling was a job. It was a job. I had to take down an old drop ceiling. There's plaster ceiling, and they put a drop ceiling below that. And I had to remove all the drop ceiling tiles. That's what you see behind me. I'm using them as the wall surface for this all concrete room here to kind of give it a little bit of soundproofing and insulation at the same time. Let's see what else. Finished the kitchen. I got that exactly the way my wife wants to see it. She's happy about that. Middle family room is good. The kids can sit down in comfort. We can eat together as a family, watch TV together as a family, play video games together as a family. And what I'm stressing is as a family. And I've not done this family stuff for almost 2 years. As you all know, I was on a wild roller coaster ride mentally, and I was all over the place, literally all over the place. Like, I wasn't home where my family was. I was gone from them, and it was a learning experience. I can say that much. It was a learning experience. I learned a lot about myself more than anything else. I learned that as fucked up as I am, or was, especially back then, and I say am only because we're all creatures of habit. You know what I'm saying? We're all creatures of habit. So those things that defined me then are always going to be a part of my life, whether they're an active part of my life or a dormant part of my life. They are still part of my life. The minute that you start thinking, or at least in my thinking, I feel that as soon as you start believing that you are better than who you were, to a certain degree, you kind of damn yourself to repeat the same mistakes. You know what I'm saying? At least with me, that's how I feel. I know I'm an alcoholic. It's what I am. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to be that little voice in the back of my head saying, hey, have a drink. It's just one drink. Who cares? You haven't drank in a while. You'll be all right. But it's up to me to let that voice stay little, you know, keep it small, way in a corner somewhere, like a bad child that you don't want to talk to. You know, sit in the corner and stay there, and don't look at me. Don't look at me. You'll look at the wall. That's how I feel about, you know, alcohol use. Stay in the corner and look at the wall. Don't look at me anymore. I don't want to be bothered with you, period. Because what I stand to lose when it comes to taking a drink is a lot more valuable to me than the feeling that I may get from taking that drink. You know, and I've learned to gauge these things in my life a lot better than in the past. So I'm extremely happy at this point in my life that I've conquered this one day at a time. And so every day, I am grateful for the fact that I have remained strong enough to say, no, I don't need that. I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? I hope everybody has been taking care of themselves. I hope everybody has been having a wonderful life. And if you're not, only you have the power to change that. Only you have that power. You have to find some way in your life to bring happiness to it, because no one else is responsible for your happiness. You know what I'm saying? You know, people just aren't thinking about your happiness. And in that sense, you have to be somewhat selfish. You have to say, hey, you know what? I want to be happy, so I'm going to do the things that are necessary to make me happy. And when I was all screwed up in the head and drinking and drugging and shit, I did not know what made me happy. I had no idea. You know, I had an idea, kind of, sort of, what made me happy, but then I found out when I stopped doing certain things that those things didn't really make me happy at all. You know, they were just like a cover-up for other things. So now that I've been clean and I've been sober for this period of time that I have been, I'm enjoying that. That has made me happy. It has given me a sense of accomplishment that every single day I'm able to be like, nope, don't want that. Nope, don't want that. Yes, I'll have some of this life. I'll have some of this life. And I'm going to live. My relationship with my children is fucking much better. Much better. And that is extremely important to me. The relationship I have with my kids, what do I leave behind? You know what I'm saying? I don't want my kids, when I go off to the heavens or hell that I've made for myself, to sit there and be like, you know what? I love him simply because he was dad. I really have nothing to say about him because he was always screwed up. I don't want that to be their memory of me, you know what I'm saying? They're going to have those memories of me, but I don't want those to be the only memories that they have. You know, they're going to, all of them, all four of my children are going to remember those times when dad was screwed up. They're going to remember them. How can they not? It has shaped them in some degree to who they are today, and it will continue to shape them in the future. So, to anybody out there who is suffering with substance abuse or alcoholism, and you think for some strange reason, just because you don't do this shit in front of your kids, that it does not affect your kids, well, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Because it affects your kids more than you know. And you wouldn't know until you stop doing the fucked up things that you're doing. So, for Christmas, if you are suffering, this is only for those of you, if you're watching, that are suffering with any type of substance abuse issues. Make your Christmas gift that you want for yourself sobriety, a clear mind. Make that your Christmas gift, because I guarantee you it'll be the most rewarding gift that you could ever give yourself. And only you can give yourself this gift. No one else can give it to you. No one can give you the mindset to stop. You have to do that for you. You have to. If you don't, well, you're doomed to perpetuate the cycle of nonsense that is substance abuse. And it is nonsense. You know, they say, you know, they have this term, functioning addict. Functioning. I think it is a stupid term. It's a fucking foolish term. You are not functioning if you're an addict. Now, I think what they're trying to say is that a functioning addict is someone who still works and still does things. Yeah, but what are you doing those things for? Why are you working? I worked my entire life. From the age of 14, 15, I've always worked. It's not a new task. But what was I spending my money on? Where was I spending my time? Where was my mind at? It wasn't where it was supposed to be. I wasn't spending my money on things that I should have. Therefore, to say I was functioning is foolish. It was foolish. Functioning addict. Addict is just addict. We need to stop coming up with these terms that allow it to be okay to do these things. We have to. You know, I'm not saying demonize it or vilify it, but look at it for what it truly is, which is a spiral of self-destruction. And unfortunately, as with most things that work in a spiral, like tornadoes and whirlpools, or vortexes, or black holes for that matter, you tend to suck in the things around you and destroy them, toss them all over the place, and then they're left trying to figure out what the fuck just happened. Meanwhile, you just go spinning off somewhere, and when you stop your spin, you're looking around like, what's all this mess from? What happened? That's, to me, how I can describe my life during my abuse of myself. It's a tornado just spinning around, churning around. I'm functioning as a tornado. I'm making forward movement, but I'm destroying everything around me at the same time, leaving people to pick up the pieces, and then me sitting there looking at them like, why are they fucking mad? Why are you upset? I'm here, I'm working, I go to work every day. What's the problem? I cook dinner, I clean. What's the problem? Well, the problem is, motherfucker, you're fucking shit up. That's what the fucking problem is. And it's a hard realization. Sometimes you gotta stare in the mirror really hard, and you gotta look at what you really are, who you really are. You gotta think about what it is you want, the things that you truly honestly need. And you gotta make a list. Sometimes you gotta make a list. Hey, Merry Christmas Eve, Kilo. How you doing, man? Thank you for, joining me real quick on this reflection of just life in general. I've done some things in my life I'm not proud of, as most people have. Most people have done things they're not proud of. So, I'm not speaking as some person who knows more than others. I'm just saying that from my experience, anybody who's potentially going through something like I went through, this is what worked for me. It could work for you, and it may not work for you. But you really have to find joy in life. I know that sounds stupid and corny and cliche, but you do. And one of the things that helped me find joy in life was when I was working the 2 jobs that I was working before, I moved from Connecticut. All I had time to do was work. And a lot of people would be like, man, 2 jobs fucking running basically 18 hours of the day, I was working. That was it. I had very little time to do shit else. But I enjoyed it. Like, I actually enjoyed it. I stopped thinking about working for the purpose of getting money to get high or get drunk with. I looked at the fact that I just like to work. And fuck, if I get a paycheck, I get a paycheck. I can stack that money because I'm not spending it on other things. But I was just happy to wake up every morning, like 5 o'clock, boom, I'm up, like, whoosh, shit, it's time to go spray mosquitoes. Bam, finish that job. Go off to the next job. Slicing deli meats. I was enjoying my time working. It was just great. I was busy. I was happy. A spark started in me. A spark started. Lit up. Fire began to burn. It said, hey, life, man. Life is good. You took breath today. You have a lot to be thankful for. And I started being grateful just to wake up in the morning. Aches and pains aside, I was happy. I was happy about this shit. I was like, I would cry some mornings. I was so fucking happy about it. You know what I'm saying? And it got to a point where I started saying to myself, dude, you know what? You don't need that drink today. Like, hold up, wait. Did the voice just come in my head and say, I don't need a drink today? Yeah, what do you need a drink for? Usually you drink because you want to be happy, but you're already happy, man. What do you need a drink for? And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. I don't need this drink. I don't want this drink. I'm not going to take it. September 8th, last day I drank. 2022. Last day. It was the last day. I took a drink, sipped, even smelled alcohol. And now what's interesting, what I find to be extremely interesting is like I can smell alcohol on other people very, very, very well. Like if someone has a sip of beer, I can smell that shit. It's like, I smell alcohol. But I don't smell it and say, I want alcohol. I just smell it like, I noticed that this person smells like a wino. And that's just my opinion. That's how it smells to me. But now I can think of how I was coming across, right? Like, I was slamming down 100 proof nips all day. Like, I'm talking about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of these things a day. Every fucking day. Didn't need a reason. Just, I get like 7 because, get to a store and I'm using my ATM card and they're like, well, sir, the minimum is $10. Rather than turning around and walking out the door and saying, I'll go find a place or just draw out some cash so I can buy the one I want, I'm like, well, I'll just buy $10 worth of them and I'll just save them for tomorrow. No, that didn't happen. I'd have a bag full of them, just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I'm out of them. And I'm like, I want more. Damn. I want more of them. So, the cycle, it was vicious, man. Like I said, it's like a fucking tornado. Spinning around. When you're stuck in the middle of that shit, you don't see what is happening to the things outside of it. You don't see what's happening to the things around you. And a lot of times people who have dealt with you and dealt with that for so long, they just give up. They give up talking. They give up saying anything about it. They're just like, you know what, I've said all I can. I can't get this person to change if they don't want to fucking change. So, luckily, my parents were willing to give me a place to stay because they didn't have to do that shit. And I lied straight to my mom's face. She'd be like, "You've been drinking?" I'm like, "Drinking? No, I haven't had any drinks. I'm alcohol free, Mom." Lying. And that shit started to hurt me because, my mom has been dealing with a lot with my father's health this past couple of years, especially, in the year that I was there. My father beat prostate cancer. He's diabetic. He had heart attacks because of the freaking radiation therapy that he had to go through. So then he had to have more surgery to have stents put in him. Then, on top of all this, hepatitis C, fucking diabetes, heart condition, and cancer, my father caught COVID, right? And he beat that shit. He beat all that shit. All of it. And that day that, he recovered from COVID, never forget it. It was basically around the time when I was just like, if this man can beat all this shit that he's not doing to himself, he has no control over what happens with his health unless he's bringing it upon himself. He didn't bring these things upon himself. They happened and he beat it. Pow! I can beat fucking drinking. You can stop. I looked at my father. My father is one of the strongest manly man. One of the strongest men I've ever met in my life besides my grandfather. Never idolized. You know what I'm saying? I've never idolized anybody else but my fucking father and my grandfather. I have wanted to be like them, like a hybrid of them. Like if I could take the two of them, smush them together, and create me in their likeness, I would feel great. And so far, this past year, not the whole year, but within this year, I have learned so much that I am capable of doing those things. You know what I'm saying? I'm capable of being like my grandfather and like my father. Everything that I've been doing in this house has been stuff that I've learned from my father and my grandfather. You know what I'm saying? Hanging drywall, painting, fixing these issues that keep popping up, whether they pop up before I see it or not. The thing is, I've been able to fix it. My house is comfortable. My family is comfortable. We have a roof over our heads. And now I know what it is to maintain that. And if I was still fucked up in the head, this wouldn't happen. None of this would happen. None of this would happen. And like I said, I've gotten a much better relationship with my kids, which is very important when you have sons. Now, my oldest son is going through some shit right now, and he's lost because I was lost. I have to own that. And it saddens me every day to watch my son go through what he's going through, because had I been a better fucking father, when I thought just going to work and being there was enough, had I been better mentally, he'd be better mentally. He would be. And I know this for a fact. It's not a question, fathers. It's not a question. What you do affects your kids. Period. End of story. There's no insulating them from what they adore. If you have sons, well, pops, they want to be you until they don't want to be. You get what I'm saying? So you have to give them a stable fucking model to follow. You can't be broken and expect them not to be. It's just not logical. You know what I'm saying? It's not logical. So I'm praying every day that my son sees my change, my metamorphosis, and realizes that he too can do the same thing. That's for my younger two children. They are an enigma in themselves. They are interesting, very interesting. One of the things I love about my kids is not, and I'm sure this is for everybody who has kids, or more than one of them especially, none of my kids are the same. None of them. They are all different, very different from each other. I mean, there are some similarities between a couple of them, but for the most part, they are all I can't use one tactic that I use on another one to get the point across. I gotta approach each one of them as individuals, as you should approach all your children as individuals. You should never just lump them all together as your kids. You do what I say because I say so. And trust me, they should do what you say because you say so. But if you have been shaky, if you have been abusing substances most of their life and all they've seen is you do that shit, trust me when I tell you, a level of respect that you think you've earned, you have not. So don't set yourself up for disappointment when you tell your kid to do something and he looks at you like, fuck you. I'm not doing it because you are a mess. And I've watched you be a mess. And I've dealt with you being a mess. You know, one of the things I used to do with my kids is I promise them I'm going to do something, right? And say, hey, yeah, we're going to go do this tomorrow. And then I get high or I get drunk. And I totally fucking forget about it. And they're pissed. But they wouldn't say anything because of that, you got to respect dad shit. You know what I'm saying? So I told my kids, this is one of the things I told them recently. You know, I have a rule. We're down eating dinner together, or we're doing anything as a family together. I want the electronics left out of the fucking picture. No phones, no fucking handheld devices. Put that shit away. We're eating dinner. That's what we're doing. So fuck that. Put on YouTube in the background, big screen TV, throw up a fucking fireplace or some nice scenic shit. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna eat. No electronic devices. Now, if you see me on my electronic device, please say, hey dad, you said no. And you know what? The other day, I was sitting at the table, we were eating and shit, and I had my phone in my hand. I'm sitting here texting somebody. I think it was my oldest son. They're like, Dad. And at first, I was about to be like, hey, don't you tell me. But then I remembered, I told them to tell me. So I have to reset the examples that I set in the past, is basically what I'm trying to say by what I'm saying now. Is I had set such terrible examples for my children to follow beforehand that now we have to work together to set the new examples that I want them to follow. You know, and I always give my children the ability to speak to me from the heart when I've, you know, because a couple days ago they were helping me do some shit in the basement here, and they decided that they didn't want to help anymore. So they start running around fucking playing and shit. One of my biggest rules when you're helping me do something is you're not fucking playing around. You're not on your phone, you're not playing, you're on task until the task is complete. I don't give a fuck whether you like the task or not. This is life. Sometimes you have to do shit you don't want to do in order to get what you want. It's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying? It's the way it is. So, you know, they decide they're gonna go play and do all sorts of shit. I'm just like, oh God, you know what I'm saying? Right. So I don't say shit. I'm being quiet because they already know the rule. So I'm not going to repeat myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to constantly stop and tell you this because in real life, no one's going to do that. You know what I'm saying? They're going to give you a warning. You're going to know what the fuck the shit is. And then if you don't do it right, then, you know, you face the consequences. So bam, you know what I'm saying? I leave. I finish doing what I'm set out to do that day. And I see them upstairs chilling, playing fucking video games and shit. I'm like, ha 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 ha. Let them have it. Let them have it. I told them straight up. You know? You can't be disrespecting me. It's just not gonna work. Road of respect is two ways. If you want it, you gotta give it. If you don't want to give it, you're not gonna get it. And if you don't get it from me, well, you're just gonna not get it from life because you're not learning the lesson I'm trying to teach you. That's what this is all about. It's learning. It's not just me telling you to do some shit for the pure purpose of telling you to do some shit. I can do it myself. I want you to understand how to be a man, how to be able to do for you, and not have to ask anybody to do anything else for you. You know what I'm saying? Because there's nothing worse than not being able to do what you need to do as a man. Trust me. That shit is terrible. It's terrible. You know? And that's something I think is lacking in a lot of young men today, is a stable father figure. A stable father figure. They may have father figures, but they're not stable. In whatever aspect of their life, they're not stable. They're just not stable because some of these young kids are growing up, especially these boys, feeling entitled and shit. And, you know, you're not entitled to fucking anything. You're not. You're not entitled to shit. I know that sounds harsh, and I know that sounds crazy, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's true. You're not even entitled to the love that you get from your parents. It should happen. You should be loved by your parents, but there are so many kids out there whose parents don't give two fucks about them. Don't care. Now, am I saying that to say that they should earn love? No, not at all. You know, you should love your kids, but there are kids that don't get that, so just don't feel entitled to it. Don't feel that you can abuse your parents, and that goes for me too. And that's what I was doing when I was staying with them at first, and I wasn't being honest about getting help or drinking and shit. I was abusing that love that my parents had for me. You know what I'm saying? And my parents loved me unconditionally, but they were ready to put my ass the fuck out, like on some real shit. They wasn't having it. They was getting serious, you know. It was getting serious. And I would have ended up who knows where, you know, because as a man, you don't want to go crawling back to anybody. You don't want to go crawling to anybody and saying, hey, you know, I'm down and out. I'm out of my luck. I need help. And not the kind of help that you really need, but the kind of help that you want at that time, which is you don't want to be cold or you don't want to be in the street, so you want someone to help you. No. You should only seek help when you need it, not when you want it. Because when you want it, you really don't need it. You know what I'm saying? You just don't feel like doing it yourself. That's my opinion. Like I said, none of this shit is some book that I've read from. This is just me and my life experiences saying things that I feel are true to people in my circumstances or who have been in my circumstances. This is how I conquered it. And I think anybody, if they truly want to, can conquer this shit. Anybody who remembers me from my guy Kilo, like a brother to me, like on some real shit he is. And anybody who's ever watched some of the lives that I've done with Kilo knows exactly what I'm talking about. I'm a totally different person. I'm not that same person. Y'all know. It'll start out, be a little bit of funniness here and there, and then the next thing you know, I've been drinking, and then and I'm crying about some shit, or yelling about something, or upset about some nonsense. Ruin the mood. Kill the whole live. Bam. Done. He's just like, who cares about this guy? We don't want to hear this shit no more. Get out of my face. Right? Or then there was the other me, the medicated me, who's just sitting there like a zombie, like, I'm not happy. I'm not sad. I just am. Now, I'm me. And I'm happy to be me. Now, it's 10:44 in the morning. You know, I just wanted to touch base with all my people, however few of you or however many of you there are, and just say, I'm okay. And I'm actually okay. I'm better than okay. Like, fucking for real, I am. I'm high on life. Every single day I wake up and I am high on life. And I love it. I love this feeling. And I would not trade this for a drink or a hit for anything. I don't need that shit. I've got what I need. And now that I have what I need, you know what I'm saying? I can focus on getting the things that I want. And what I want are things that keep me in the things that I need. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. I hope it does, because I want it to make sense. I want it to make sense to anybody who watches this. I want them to understand the transition. I want them to understand the work that I have put in to get to this point. Because it was a long road. And there were times when I didn't think I was going to make it. You know, there were times when I just thought that I was going to continue to be the same old mess, and that was going to be my life, and that was going to be my death. Some drug-addicted, alcoholic fool that just couldn't get shit right. When I had such strong men, father and grandfather in my life, you know, I couldn't have that. I couldn't have that. My grandfather worked his ass off, and not just in work. He was a 4 Bronze Star decorated soldier in World War II. That man, another warrior in my family. You know what I'm saying? This is the stock I come from. The stock. It's in my DNA. And I've been failing that DNA for years. No longer will that happen. No longer. It's time for me to take up the shield and the sword of my forefather. You know what I'm saying? And do what needs to be done in my life for my family. Be a warrior for them, so that my sons can look back and say, you know what, Dad had his issues, but that man, not that motherfucker, not that nigga, not that piece of shit, that man rose up from those ashes, and he built himself a new fucking path, and he stuck to that shit. Conquered it, triumphed over the nonsense. Hey, and I do that every day. I do that every day now, and I'm fucking happy as fuck. So, everybody, I'm gonna let you go. I've rambled on long enough. I hope everybody is having a wonderful time with their families this weekend. I want everyone to spend as much time with the things that matter, the people that matter, doing the things that they love because they love them. Not because somebody else tells you you should, because you actually do. That's what I want to see people do this weekend. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I'm going to do. From me to all of you out there, Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah or Kwanzaa if that's what you're into. Whatever you're into, have fun doing it. Happy holidays. I don't know what Muslims celebrate as far as like a Christmassy type thing, but if you guys celebrate something Christmassy, well, merry whatever it is you celebrate to you too. You know what I'm saying? To all human beings across the world, let's just stop fucking being evil to one another and just mind our own goddamn business and just enjoy ourselves and our families. Because if we focus more on our families and ourselves, we really don't have a whole lot of time to be negative to other people. Like, I don't have a negative thought about most people out there, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't care about them, you know. And I'm not saying I don't care about them in a negative way. I'm just saying I don't care about what they're doing because it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me, you know. And it's taken me a long time to get to this point. You know, I used to be real fragile when it came to like people's judgment of what I was doing in my life and how I'm gonna, you know, it mattered. It doesn't matter to me because you're not putting food in my mouth. You're not taking care of my kids. I have to do that. You know what I'm saying? I have to do that. I have to set that example for them. So, you set your examples, I'll set my examples, and somewhere in the world, we may meet. And you know what? When you see me, or I see you, I'm going to be like, how you doing? How's everything? Great. And I'm going to keep it moving. I wish you all the best. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Or, like I said, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But just in reality, I wish you all a wonderful life and happiness in who you are. And that's all I got to say, peoples. That's all I got to